Okay, so let's get right into it. What we're seeing right now is this huge wave of protests sweeping across the United States, and it's all fueled by this growing anger over what demonstrators are calling really aggressive and, frankly, violent federal action against immigrants.
Yeah, that's the chant you're hearing in cities from coast to coast. We're talking about thousands of people hitting the streets, and they're demanding an end to what they see as a brutal federal campaign.
So to really get a grip on what's going on here, we first have to look at where this is all unfolding, and maybe more importantly, why things have gotten so incredibly tense.
And make no mistake, this movement is absolutely nationwide. We're seeing these major demonstrations pop up everywhere, from Los Angeles out on the West Coast, a city that organizers say has been a huge target for ICE, all the way across the country to the streets of downtown New York.
But you know, the real epicenter of this anger, the flashpoint where things have just exploded, is Minneapolis. What's happened there recently, with federal agents killing 2 protesters, has turned these demonstrations into a direct and really urgent response to deadly force.
So who exactly are these people in the streets? Well, it's a much wider and more diverse coalition than you might think. And believe it or not, it all kicked off with some of the youngest voices in the country.
Yeah, according to one of the organizers, a woman named Rebecca Winter, this whole thing wasn't sparked by the usual suspects, unions or big political groups. Nope. The very first call to action came directly from student groups right there in Minneapolis and St. Paul. And this feeling, this sense of moral duty, was just so powerfully captured by a high school student down in Georgia. She helped lead a walkout, and her words really seemed to get right to the heart of what's driving so many of these young people.
And you can see it right here. That student-led energy makes up the biggest piece of the pie. But they're not alone. It's been joined by all these other groups. We're talking about businesses literally shutting down for the day, and even folks from the Hollywood community hitting pause on their work to show solidarity.
And get this, the scale of the response was just staggering. Organizers reported that over 300 solidarity rallies were planned for the very next day. And not just across the US, but all around the world. That's huge. Okay, so what's the end game here? What is the actual goal? Well, the protesters' core demand, it isn't just about tweaking some policies or, reforming the system. They're calling for something way more fundamental.
And this right here really gets to a key point of tension. You've got some politicians in the Senate, and they're talking about reform, but the message coming straight from the streets, it's way more radical. And honestly, it's completely unambiguous.
Listen to protest organizer Rebecca Winter. She puts it very directly. She makes it crystal clear that, yeah, they're glad to see some movement happening in Washington, but their ultimate goal is nothing less than the complete abolition of the agency itself.
So why such an extreme demand? Their reasoning is pretty straightforward. The situation has escalated way beyond normal politics. They're basically saying if the government isn't conducting business as usual, then why should our response be?
Okay, so this is the crucial part. We have to understand why. Why are they calling for such a drastic step? And it all comes down to a series of really severe allegations they're making against these federal agencies.
The protesters are claiming that ICE, Immigration and Customs Enforcement, isn't even behaving like law enforcement anymore. As one organizer puts it, they're acting like an untrained militia. And when you hear that phrase, it just screams a lack of discipline, zero accountability, and, not following the law.
And this is the foundation of all that anger. Look at this list of alleged abuses. It's incredibly serious. Organizers are claiming the agency is violating the Constitution, disappearing legal immigrants, and cramming people into overcrowded prisons without enough food, water, or even basic medical care.
The language that people are using on the ground, it's become extreme. And that really reflects how serious they feel this situation is. Some folks in Minnesota have gone so far as to call the federal presence a federal occupation. Think about that word.
But out of all these claims, there's one that is the most severe. It's the one that truly explains the urgency and the fury behind these protests. It's the direct accusation from organizers that federal agents are, and I'm quoting them here, outright murdering people on the streets.
So you take all of this together, the protests happening all over the country, these really radical demands, the shocking allegations of violence and abuse, and it all boils down to this single profound anxiety about the state of the nation.
And so we're left with this haunting question that's being pulled from the sources, one that seems to capture the fear that's driving thousands of people into the streets. What is becoming of the country they once knew? It's a question that really suggests they believe the nation is fundamentally changing, and it's happening right before their very eyes.